Okay, representing Curtis Turner family, we have Margaret Sue Turner. She's the daughter of Curtis Turner. And then we have Leonard Wood. And of course, Leonard was with Curtis and is very, very familiar with him as a race car driver. And so, Margaret Sue, I'm going to ask you, you gave a very, very eloquent acceptance speech on the behalf of your dad. Maybe just some of the memories, and I really enjoyed listening to those talks that you and your dad had, but maybe just talk about the flood of memories that you have here today, knowing that your dad's in the Hall of Fame. Push that button. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there we are.
Thank you.
I think the flood of memories that come back to me, especially when people say, what were some of your favorite memories? And I have great memories of being at the races, especially when I was even young. And I remember watching and cheering Daddy on when I was little, and especially at Daytona. That was a lot of fun. And when he started flying, we would fly down the coastline of Florida, and that was always fun, and he would talk to us and show us about it. And all of those memories come back as good memories, and also the memories when he was building the Charlotte Motor Speedway, because I was just mentioning to another reporter that I would take my brother Curtis Ross Turner, he passed away a few years ago, and I would take him with me and babysit him at the track while they were building it. And my brother liked to get his toes in the little dirt mounds and play in them. So I have those memories, and I got to have a lot of good memories when Daddy would have people over, and we met a lot of people. There were racing fans and racing family, and it was a beautiful family. I loved being in the infield during the races, because that's where you had more camaraderie with the other families and talking with them and watching parts of the race or the whole race and getting on top of someone's RV. And so it was wonderful. I loved it.
And Leonard, certainly Curtis drove for the Wood brothers and had some great years there with your all's organization. Just talk about him from a standpoint. You've certainly been around some great race car drivers. Just talk about Curtis and his driving style. What set him above some of the others?
Well, I just want to check this, see if this is good. I don't know how many of you guys got to see Curtis Turner drive, or how many of you didn't, but the ones that didn't, you missed something, because it was just a show just to watch him drive. It didn't matter what position he was in, it was just a show the way he handled the car. So he shows up at Greensboro one time, and he's running a convertible circuit. Fireball Roberts is running a hardtop circuit. This is 1957, and Fireball got sick. But Curtis being running the convertible, he didn't have anything to drive, so he just showed up in a suit, wasn't planning to drive. So Fireball got sick. They put Curtis in it, and it was a 57 Ford with a supercharger. He threw dirt over the fence, lapped the field 3 times, and then that's just to show you a little bit of something how he did. And Junie Donlevy said it was this modified car showed up at Richmond, had never finished better than last. Every race, this car always finished last. There again, he shows up in a suit. Wasn't planning on driving anything. He gets in the car and wins the race. That just shows you how good he was, you know, especially on dirt. But of all the drivers I can ever think of, this guy, he had more control of a car and a slide, or, you know, to save a car from being spun out or whatever, as any driver I've ever known.
We'll take a few questions here. We'll start here with Tom.
Hi, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. I got to ask you, Margaret, you alluded in your speech, which was wonderful, about all the flying stories you've heard about your father are true. Is there any of them you can share with us?
Sure. I wasn't in the plane when he landed it on the highway, but those are true. Yeah, he did that more than once. As a matter of fact, sometimes he would fly so low and I would be in the plane that he could tell the roads and which way to go. Especially if maybe some of the instruments weren't working, you know, he would fly low. And one time we were flying to Charlotte and we were suddenly in a storm and it was at night and we were surrounded with that brilliant blue light, you know. That was really strange, but he was an excellent pilot. He could land anywhere. He landed in fields when he had to. And yeah, he was just an excellent pilot, and he let me fly sometimes when he wanted to get in the back seat and take a nap, and he'd just say, just make sure you keep that little thing, you know, kind of level there. Okay, Daddy. So that was fun, and he liked being up in the plane because he felt like he was free, you know, and close to whatever that spiritual aspect might have been for him. Thank you.
Right here, Wolfgang. No, let's go in the back first. Gentleman right there in the back, go ahead.
Thank you. Jeff Archer, WFXR, Fox out of Roanoke for Mr. Wood. Let me ask you, Virginia, the area that he is from, is very well known for its racing. Do you feel like he represents that racing and what it means to Virginia and how important it is?
Could you say that again a little louder?
Sure. You're from Virginia, and that part of Virginia is racing is very important to that part of Virginia. Do you feel like his going to the Hall of Fame represents that part of Virginia as well as your family and as well as just the whole entire NASCAR family?
Absolutely. Yeah, he's from Virginia. We kept both homes. He was in Roanoke. We kept our Roanoke home even when we moved around a lot. Even when he went up to Indiana. We were up in Indiana one year when he was trying on the that open wheel racing, and he came back. We had a Charlotte home twice, but we always kept our Virginia home here. And he's definitely a Virginia boy all the way. I mean, my goodness, he was born in Floyd, and so yeah, I think he represented Virginia very well.
Okay, Wolfgang right here.
Wolfgang Monza from German Rennsport Association. Congratulations for the inductions. There was in the film shown something or mentioned which was a little bit confusing for me. It was said that your father was banned from NASCAR racing. Can you give me more details why?
Well, you see, he tried to save the track at one point. He and Bruton were working on this deal together for a long time, and they ran into trouble, and financing was a big issue when they hit granite because it was going to be so expensive to try to blast through there and fix it and get it also done in time for the race they had already advertised. So he was looking for financing. He was looking for more help because he didn't have it. So this is where he eventually went to try to form a Teamsters union because he was turned on to Jimmy Hoffa. And he said, well, I'll loan you the money if you can get a union going. And so Daddy thought, well, this is what the drivers need. This will probably help them. And they didn't have big purses then. They couldn't get insurance. That was a laugh. There was nobody that could get insurance then because of, you know, racing is a pretty dangerous sport. And so that is my awareness of it. And that didn't work out at the very end, even though they told him that they would do that, because then they changed their mind and said, oh, we can't do that. It'll be a conflict of interest. But at the time, everyone was on board with Daddy, and they were trying to help the track. And the racers that they sort of started dropping off from it because Bill France didn't like the idea of the union, which that was his choice. But he didn't want to have anything else, you know, controlling him, which I kind of understand that. But it was just a matter of not allowing that to happen because he wanted the freedom, you know, away from that. So anyway, Tim Flock was the only one that stayed on with Daddy. All the other drivers did drop out of that original agreement, and they were going to do that to try to help. And so that's, I don't know, that's the best I can put that together for you. Maybe you have more on that? I don't know. That's there.
Right here, we'll go with Kenny Bruce, and that'll probably be the last one.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Margaret, you're an artist, correct?
What?
Say you're an artist, correct?
Oh, yes, thank
Yes.
you.
Have you done portraits or paintings of your dad through the years?
Yes, I have.
Anyone in particular that you're most proud of or that stands out? Or can you remember the first one you did of him, for instance?
Probably I did one of him in an open wheel racer, and I like it because it showed a mood. And I did one of Mom and Dad standing in front of the race car at Langhorne Speedway when he won that race in 1950. I thought that was kind of cool. That's still over my mantle. I'm not going to sell it. But yeah, I do like to paint, and I do want to paint more paintings on Dad and about my life growing up and make it more of a narrative painting. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us here today. Congratulations to your dad for getting in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And Leonard, certainly thank you so much, and all you and your family have meant to the sport as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.